Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope that you can find me again. I apologize for the technical difficulties. So the first thing that I'm going to do is show you some cards that I have received in the mail. And I got this beautiful New Year card from Anne. Isn't that pretty? That snowflake is embossed and those letters are embossed. I'm saying that the numbers are embossed. It's just beautiful. And Anne, I want you to know that this chunky alphabet stamp set is absolutely one of my favorite alphabets that I've ever received or ever purchased from Stampin' Up. I love it. And I still have it and I use it all the time. It's one of my favorites. I use it for in my planner. I use it in my my Bible. I use it in all kinds of things. It's one of my favorite go-tos. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being patient with me. I don't know what happened. But I'm showing my cards first before we jump into the fun fold. So this is from Sue. She is a demonstrator, Stampin' with Sushi. Look at this gorgeous background. I'm going to have her remind me how to create this. It's like a watermark. I think it's where you take the ink off with water, but I don't remember for sure. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful card. Thank you so much, Sue. And this is from Anita. She made some beautiful patchwork on this card and a nice layered rectangle, stitched rectangle. It's just gorgeous. I love it, Anita. Thank you very much. And this is from Susan, and she used this great little squares, hip to be square pattern from a Papercrafting Playdate and used this beautiful paper. Thank you, Susan. This is gorgeous. I love how you just embossed. Oh, I guess you embossed the whole thing, did you? It almost looks like just the squares are embossed, but everything is embossed on this sheet, and it looks like fabric. It's so beautiful. I don't know if you could see that. So fun. Hello, Annie. Oh, hi, Susan. I just showing your beautiful card here. Love it. It's gorgeous. Makes me want summer and fresh berries. Hello, Miss Claudia. Thanks for joining me. This great card is from Carol. And look at this beautiful like iridescent embossing on the back with the music notes. So pretty. She sent this amazing thank you card to my husband and I. She attends the service that we have a little band, little church band, and we've been singing together for a long time. And she sent a little thank you for the music, which was so very sweet. And this card is from Patricia. She is a demonstrator on my team. There you are, Patricia. Hello, here's your card. Look how beautiful. She used kind of the template that we did a couple weeks ago on Papercrafting Playdate. She put this gorgeous little piece of paper here that does all the work. It's gorgeous. Thank you so much. And last but not least, I have a very special card, and it's special because it's from my sister. And she is actually the person who introduced me to Stampin' Up! Way, way, way back when. She had some things and had been to a party, and she got my mom and I involved in it. And she actually hosted my very first party for me so long ago. But anyway, she doesn't stamp anymore. She hasn't for a long time. But I sent her this paper pumpkin kit because it had all of the family words in it. And she just sent me this card, which is so sweet. And I am thrilled to be showing it to you. Thank you, Star. Okay, we have a fun fold today. Look at the colors that we're going to use. Aren't those fun? Before I forget, of course it's celebration right now. So if you're watching this in January or February 2023, best sale ever. You can pick out something for free with every $50 you spend. Awesome. And then we have a monthly subscription kit, Paper Pumpkin. This is kind of neat. I'm sharing this with you because it's something that is new. And next month's kit that you get in February is called Jump for Joy. And it's going to coordinate with this suite of products right here in the mini catalog called Rain or Shine. So the images, the papers, they're going to coordinate with this set just to make, like if you already have this or if you are thinking about getting it, it's going to stretch the supplies that you get in here because you're going to have more things to add with them. And then for the first time ever, Stampin' Up! Is making a little die set that's going to coordinate with some of the images in Paper Pumpkin. So that's pretty cool. So you can, you know, do even more. There's this cute little frog. So I think that's really cool. I'm looking forward to getting that and trying that next kit. Okay. Fun fold time. So I'm going to stand up because I stamp better standing up. How about you? Leave me a comment. Do you sit when you craft, or do you stand up, or do you do both? Right? Okay, I'm going to move this code out into the corner here, but my code this month, if you use my code and you place an order of $50 or more, you get to pick out one of my favorite ribbons, which is what you see in this box. These are my favorites. So if you're on my mailing list, you already know all that information. If you're not on my mailing list, please join my mailing list so that you get all the information firsthand. Okay. So, a few weeks ago, I shared this card with you. This is from my dear friend Lynn in Australia. And she made me this birthday card. And I have never made this fun fold. It's really super cool. And so she told me where she got the idea. And so we're going to make it today. We're going to break it apart and put it together. And it's really pretty easy, so you're going to love it. Okay, yes, stand to die cut, mostly sit. I stand up, yep. Definitely, yes. Well, I have my stamping table is a little bit taller, so it makes it easier to stand. And so that's what I usually do. So this card, Lynn got the idea from this card by watching a tutorial by Rachel Tessman. She's an amazing Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. But Rachel got the idea from one of her downline, Nancy Reynolds. And then she had found a couple other people who did different versions of this, like Karen Egan. These are all Stampin' Up! Demonstrators. So this isn't, I couldn't find the originator of this idea, but basically it's like a corner squash fold. So that's what I'm going to call it, because this is a squash fold right here. I think Rachel called it a corner open card, but this is a squash fold. So let's just review here. A squash fold is just a basic fold that you can use for a bunch of different things. And you always start with a square piece of paper and you fold it in half one way and you fold it in half the other way. Then you flip it over and you fold it diagonally. And then when you pop the center, those diagonal lines come in and it folds into a square that's smaller, okay? And then you can put it inside cards. You can, we made a Christmas ornament out of this. You can do all kinds of things with the squash fold. There's a whole entire paper crafting playdate about squash folds. So when you look at this idea, that fold is a squash fold right here, okay? So I am going to show you how to put this together. I recommend that you make yourself a template like this. I just keep these and they're very helpful for just keeping around. The next time that I want to make this card, I'm just going to pull out this template, and it'll make it so much easier for me to remember how to do it, right? Plus, there will be a PDF as always, so that you can have another piece of information. But I like having this because the physical, just looking at a page with numbers and dimensions is okay in one way, but if you actually have just a tiny little sample of what you're trying to be making, then it makes it a little bit easier. So here are the dimensions. It's a piece of paper that's 7 inches by 8 1/4 inches. And then when it's all closed up, the finished size is just like a regular card size. So this is the size of an invitation size card. So it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 when it's closed. So this is the starting size. Then you score it 2 3/4 inch along one of the long sides, and you score it 2 3/4 inches from this 7-inch side over here. Okay? And that's going to give you this. And then the all-important diagonal fold is going to go this way. So to create that diagonal fold, you measure 5 1/2 inches from that corner in both directions. And then you create that score line. So this is 5 1/2 marks. Okay, so that's your basic corner squash fold. So let's make a card. When you are figuring out how you want to how you want to make your card, you definitely want to, if you're using designer series paper, you want to have 2 sides that coordinate together, because you're going to see both sides. Okay, so on this card that Lynn made, we see the green paper on one side and then the beautiful daisies on the other side. But there's this piece here where you're going to see whatever is underneath. So I'm going to choose this one. I want this to be the inside. Okay, here's my pattern here. So this is 7 inches. This is 8 1/4. So we're going to score at 2 3/4 on this 7-inch, or let's say from the 7-inch, and then I'm going to score 2 3/4 from the long 8 1/4 inch. So now I've got that square. And then we're going to mark 5 1/2 inches from on each side from this corner where that square is. And then we score in between them. So I'm going to just line those up with this line right here. And I'm going to make sure, it's hard to see, but I'm going to make sure that I can see my score lines and that this is centered the right way. I'm going to fold them and then you're going to see it better. All right, so this is the inside. Okay, so I'm scoring so that I'm looking at the inside of the card. And so the straight lines fold towards the inside. I just cleaned up my space, of course, and lost everything. Okay, there's the bone folder. And then you're going to fold that one. Okay, so I've got this and this. And then the diagonal line always folds away from whatever you want the inside to be. So fold that one away. Remember, with the squash fold, the diagonal fold has to be opposite. And then that's going to come in like that. And we'll just reinforce those lines. Easy. It really is. It looks like it's looks like it's much more complicated. All right, so there is your pattern again. And I'll bring that back out. So I thought it would be fun to decorate this with this sweet citrus bundle. It has a lot of really fun pieces. All right, so I tucked all these in here. These are dies from different die sets. And what I kind of discovered is that this little piece right here, this section, is a nice little size, and it fits all of these little rectangle dies pretty perfectly. Isn't that cool? So if you have the stitched rectangle dies, this smallest die right here fits right in that space. If you have the deckled rectangles, that smallest die also fits in that space. If you have the scalloped contours, this fun little scalloped die fits in that little space. Isn't that fun? And then if you've got the stylish shapes, this little flag banner fits in there just perfectly. So it's a great little space to pop up some of those dies that you have. So that's what we're going to do. And then I have this square out because this is also from Stylish Shapes, but this fits these squares really perfectly. This is the second largest square. Let me make sure about that. Yeah, it's the second largest square. So I love it when I can figure out things like that that go together. Okay, let's do some stamping with these fun images. So this is a bundle that has a hybrid embossing folder. Excuse me, we're going to figure that out. So I have two greens here. I'm going to make limes with this stamp image today, but you can do lemons or grapefruits. And I'm going to stamp, it's a 2-stamp set. So I'm going to stamp the inside of the lime in Parakeet Party, and then the outside in Granny Apple Green, because that's the color of this paper. So I'm just making sure these are all inked up. Okay, so that is like the rind, and then we'll add a little bit lighter green for the inside. So much fun. At first I didn't think I was going to like that all of these citrus were on the same image. But that's how it works best with the embossing folder. So you have a die that will cut these out just like that. Or when you get the bundle, you have the embossing folder so that you can actually emboss them when you cut them out. And that's what we're going to do. But I'm going to add some of these flowers too. So let's get out our other colors. This is Coastal Cabana. So we'll have some pretty blue flowers. And then let's do a fresh freesia flower. I'm going to close those up because I'm going to bring up the cut and emboss machine here. So this is the 3D embossing folder that comes when you get this bundle. And so you can just use it as an embossing folder. And I just did a plain piece of white so you could see how that embosses. So you get a great background. So beautiful. But if you want to also emboss what you've stamped, then you can put what you've stamped inside the folder and emboss those as well. Okay, so how you do this is you put the die in first. Maybe. There we go. So you put the die in first, and basically the die sits at the top or the front of the embossing folder, where the Stampin' Up! Logo is. That's the top side. So it sits upside down, and it kind of just sets in right amongst those embossed little places there. And then you put your paper in, and you just line your paper up inside those dies. Okay, so now it embossed and cut out at the same time. It's like magic. So as long as we have this up here, let's cut out our flowers. I agree, Annie. The fruit does look real. Okay, so now we've got our pieces. Let's go back to the fun fold and decide what we're going to do with all these fun pieces. All right, I forgot to stamp the centers of my flowers before I cut them out. So let's take just a moment and fix that. This tiny little center, so cute. So there's actually this center for the flowers right here, so that when you stamp the cluster that has the 3 like this, you can actually put all of these together on one block and stamp them. Of course, you have to do that before you cut them apart. It's very clever. This is a stamp set that somebody really took a lot of time to design this, and the bundle looks really, really good. All the pieces work together so well. Okay, now we're ready. All right, so this is my little stitched square here. And then I cut out some of the other designs just to kind of see what I would want. So if you're going to layer onto these, so remember this is 2 3/4 inch. So that means this square is 2 3/4 inches. So you can put a nice 2.5 inch square on there if you want some of the border to show. If you want to cover the entire thing, then you could put another piece of 2 3/4 on there. So I love this polka dot, so we're definitely going to use that. That's got all our colors in it. That's going to pull all these colors together. So then the size of this is 2 3/4 by 1.5. And so if you want to fill that in, then you need 1 1/4 inches. This will all be on the PDF, so you can look it up. So you just put a little piece there. Of course, you don't have to cover these. You can leave it the way it is, but when you have all this coordinating paper, you kind of want to use it. So to make our little cluster, we'll have to decide, because not all of these are going to fit on there, how we want this to go together. I kind of like this big. I think I'll use 3 of them. Yeah, that's cute. That's cute. So what we're going to do down here, I'm going to use the stitched rectangle, and we're going to put our greeting in there. Let's do it in green. Sending you a big squeeze. Like that. And then we'll pop that up. Yes, you know what? Most of you sit and stand, which is good, right? Because then you can kind of feel like you're exercising while you're stamping, right? All right, see how that's coming together? You just kind of, there's so many different ways you can put these things together. So my greeting is down here, so I don't have to put another greeting up here, but you could definitely put 2 different greetings up there, or on the front of this fun fold, and then, you know, kind of have a layered greeting. You'll see I have some examples. And we'll pop this one up, since it's going to layer on top of the other 2. Like that. And then we're gonna just tuck a couple little flowers around here. Okay, I am super happy with that. Very cute. It is bright and cheery. You're right, Kathy. Hi, Kathy. All right, so let's just talk about the inside. You can do all kinds of things with the inside as well. But you definitely want some place to write. And so for this particular one, I'm just going to put a piece right here. So it's going to be covered up when the card is closed. But then when it's open, you'll see the inside. And then we have some room to add another piece. Like that. And let's see. I love this Have a Zesty Birthday. So let's put that in there. Is it going to fit? Not quite. It'll almost fit. So we'll just do a little fancy stamping here. So I'm going to just ink up, because I can see through this stamp, I'm going to just ink up until the word birthday. So I have a Zesty. And I'll stamp there and then clean off my stamp. And then I'll just ink birthday. And that way I can take this long stamp and stamp it more vertically. Well, who wouldn't want to get this card? So cute. Have a Zesty Birthday. So the paper that I'm using for this card is one of the free items in the Celebration catalog. And it's a huge pack of 12 by 12 designer series paper called Dandy Designs. And you get 12 different double-sided papers with these bright, happy spring patterns. So here's the pieces that I used right here. And it coordinates with all these great colors. Granny Apple Green, Mango, Petal Pink, Calypso Coral, Balmy Blue, Fresh Freesia, and Coastal Cabana. So perfect for spring and summer designs. It's just really nice. All right, so there's our Sweet Citrus bundle. Let me put that back together. All right, you guys think you can, you're intrigued by this fun fold, I hope, and you're like, show me more, so I want to for sure do it. Let me add a couple little embellishments on here. So these are the in color dots that match this parakeet party inside, inside of the fleshy part of the lime. Let's see, I want some of these little ones. So let's put a big and a small over here. then I don't know if it really needs anything, but I think I'm gonna just put a little one. I don't think it needs it, to be honest. I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. Okay. So this card, the way I did this is made just out of designer series paper. And so it is a little flimsy. So one of the things that I like to do is to just add a piece of cardstock on the back. Let's see if this one's the right size. And so there's a lot of different ways you can do this. You can put a full 4.5 or 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. Oh my goodness. My brain is disconnected from my mouth today. Let me try that again. If you want to cover the entire back of the card, then you would need a piece that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. But I kind of like a little bit of borders, and so I put a trimmed piece back there. And then, of course, you have a lot more room to write a message if you use a larger piece. And you can decorate this, so I'll probably go back and add some more flowers and maybe stamp that citrus again on the back of the card. Now, I did not have time this week to figure out the math, but I'm sure you could figure it out if you wanted it to be like my friend Lynn's card, where, so she lives in Australia, so her sizes are a little bit different because their cardstock's different, right? So they make cards that are a little bit different sized. So if you wanted it to be like this, where your designer series paper piece is sitting on a 1/4 sheet of cardstock, you could figure that out too. You would just trim this down. Your starting paper would be a little bit different. So that's an option too. This is easy as well, to just put a piece on the back, and then you've got not only extra writing space, but then your card has a little bit more support. Okay, so here is our first version here. Now the awesome thing about this template is that you can make the cards in 2 directions. So this is the landscape layout, but we can also make this in a portrait layout. So that's what I'm going to show you next. But let me show you my samples in the portrait. So let me just bring back the pattern. There's the pattern. So here's one with the dainty flowers paper. So you can put different colors on the inside. So for this one, I made it different by putting a piece of cardstock on the inside, and I made it just about the same size as the full 1/4 of the card. I trimmed it just a little bit so this wouldn't have trouble folding, but I put it right up to the edge so that you would have this solid color here. And there's that fun little square again. And here is the layered rectangles layered with the stylish shapes flag. Okay, and so here I put a piece of another piece of designer series paper right there, but instead of trimming it to 2 1/2, I kept it 2 3/4. So there's so many different ways you can do this. Here is one with the favored flowers. This is also a free celebration paper, and I used the Queen Bee stamp set. And so here's just that little flag here. Here's that stitched square. And then there's the inside. So here's again where you can have two greetings on the front. I like that when you have kind of a layered message. And then this is with the country floral. I can't think of the name of anything today. Country Floral Boutique. So here's another option. You can definitely decorate the inside more if you want to showcase more papers, right? Here I just put a strip across the bottom to kind of fill this spot. But then when you open it, you can put your greeting message this way. I have the stitched square here again, but I just added another little piece of designer series paper to give it a matte layer. Okay, so lots of different ways to decorate this and make it just exactly, you know, what you want to use your paper for. Okay, this one's my favorite. I love this. Okay, so now we're going to do one more, and we're going to do it in the portrait position. And I'm going to show you that it's just exactly the same. You just have to turn your paper. Okay, so remember the first thing I told you is that you have to, when you pick your paper, make sure you have two sides that are coordinating, because you're going to see both sides most likely. The second thing is you want to cut already knowing which way you want your card to go. So here's our pattern for the landscape version. Okay, so you would have to think, you wouldn't want to cut it this way because this is going to be on the inside, right? And then your bikes would be going in the wrong direction. This might be fine, but then if you put this on the inside, then your bikes are going to be, you know, in the wrong direction. So you have to just decide, am I going to do this version or I'm going to do the portrait version? So I just want to show you, these are exactly the same. All right. You just have to fold it in the opposite direction. So this is like this. And these are folded in, these are folded towards me, these are folded away from me, okay? And that will give me the fold that makes this now portrait. So let me show you. Everything's exactly the same. So I want the bikes to be in the middle, and I want them to be going this way, okay? So see, I just made myself two templates. This way I don't, I don't have to think this through ever again, right? I can just keep those. All right, so we're going to do our 2/4 score on the long side and on the short side. I'm going to mark 5.5 inches from this corner where that little box from the score lines gets created. So 5.5, 5.5. And then we're going to score. Okay, so remember the diagonal fold, this is the inside, the diagonal fold goes away from the inside of the card. So I'm going to do that one first this time. And then the other two straight folds go in the opposite direction. I've misplaced the bone folder again. And then these fold in together, and then you press. Found it. Okay, so let me just straighten that. Okay. Just make sure these are straight. This is kind of fun with the stripes being on the one side, how they come together like that and create that nice little look. Okay, let's decorate it. I thought it would be great to make this into a kind of like a Valentine. So I've cut some pieces here. And we're just going to cover the front with these other designs in this pack of paper. Don't you just love coordinating paper? There's just nothing better. It makes everything so easy. Okay, so there's our front. And so what I wanted to do is, instead of using the set that kind of goes with this paper, or was designed together. So here's the suite I'm using, the Country Floral Lane paper is what I'm using. So I'm using the paper and a little bit of the gingham, but I'm going to use this stamp set to decorate it with. So I have So Much Love and For You. We're going to stamp on here. So this is Sweet Sorbet. This is the red color in this paper. I love this little scripty font. So much fun. All right, so what you have in this stamp set is actually 3 layers of the words. So you have the stamps that do this kind of thicker font. It looks like a Sharpie marker did it. But then you have this nice die that will cut out a tiny little thin word, which you can layer on top of your stamping, and you'll have a little border. And then you've got the pieces to cut this out, which is what we're going to do. And then you have this big bubble piece that will make a mat for the entire word. So let me show you that. I'll cut these out. Sandra, you're cracking me up. I don't know if I made it, I'd probably keep it. You're so funny. You're so funny. That's why you always have to make, when you sit down to make cards, you always have to make at least 2 of every card, if not more. I mean, as long as you're cutting cardstock and you have the ink out and the paper, it's just as easy to make 4 of each card. And that way, oops, you don't have any trouble mailing it, just getting rid of it, because then you could keep one for reference. But I'm that way too. I'll make a card that's like, oh, if I send it, I mean, you can take a picture of it, but if I send it, then I can't open it again and enjoy it. But that's okay. That's why we make our cards, is to give them away. Look how fun this is. So now you've got your words. So you've got some choices here. When you cut these out, you can just do love you. You can turn it around, love you so much. You can do for you. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do so much love. We're gonna put that right on here, like that. And then we'll put that on the inside. But here's what it would look like if you used then this piece here, the largest piece, to make that little like bubble around your words. So I used some of the Sweet Sorbet shimmer paper, glimmer paper, and just added that back on there. So here's how it would look if you used the smallest die with the cutout. So it's without stamping. You could use this cutout and then put the smallest die on there. So I layered Sweet Sorbet cardstock on the Sweet Sorbet glimmer paper. So you've got a lot of choices here, which makes it really fun to play with. So let's put these on and we'll finish this card. Okay, I'm going to pop love up. And I'm going to put a teeny tiny little half of a dimensional underneath that L. That way it doesn't get bent out of shape. That's sweet. It just fits right in there so perfectly. Okay, I took the time and I stamped these two-step flowers, and I just did this one right here with that cute little center, and then these leaves. So you've got a single leaf and a double leaf. Then you've got two sizes of hearts and all these extra greetings, which you can combine too. So if you've overlooked this one and you are thinking about still getting something, even for Valentine's Day, it's not too late. Or for next year. So we'll do that. Very cute. So I was going to put this heart down here, but I almost feel like it might be too much, but let's just try it. So this paper here coordinates with the punch, makes it super easy. Just punch out a bunch of those. Let's see. Oh, I think I like that. Let's just do it. So I don't want the leaf to stick out on the side of the card, so I'm going to just place that one first. And then I'll put my heart. Down there. I like it. Do we need another little heart? Do we need it? We do. Let's put it on the inside though. So on this one, I'm going to use a piece that's 2.5 by 4 1/4, and I'm just going to, or I'm sorry, 2.5 by 5 1/4, because it's going this way. Stick that there, and then we'll put this for you on the inside. Well, that's pretty sweet. I didn't practice this card ahead of time. I just kind of planned the paper, so I'm pretty pleased with how that turned out. What do you guys think? So this is the portrait version. I love it. I love it. What I didn't plan was embellishments. Here they are. So Claudia mentioned the suite, and that's what this is. This is the suite of products. This is the paper that I just used, the Country Floral paper. It has all these gorgeous designs, front and back designs that are, they are great for Valentine's Day, but you can really extend the life of this, right? I have these beautiful ribbons. And there's the gingham paper that coordinates with that too. And then these embellishments. So let's put some of these on. And we'll bring in some of that blue. So you get 2 sheets of sequins here. Look how shiny those are. A large and a small. Oh my goodness. Well, that's pretty darn close to being perfect, I think. Sandra, I might be with you. I might not be able to give this one away. No. All right, so here's our portrait version. Of course, we could put something on the back if we wanted to for you. Here is another one with the Dandy Designs paper from the last card that we just did. There's that stitched rectangle, so you can, if you've got some greetings that go vertically, it's perfect for that. So there's our little bunny and his carrots. And then I did one with the free On the Farm paper. And those fun, here's the scalloped rectangle from the contoured, scalloped contours. Fits so perfectly there. You're going to have fun with this fun fold. I just know it. I just know it. Make yourself a template. Now, one of the things you can do is turn it into a square card if you like square cards. So this would be a large square card with a finished size of 5.5 by 5.5. Okay, I don't have any envelopes that would fit this. Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell square envelopes, and they do take extra postage. So I tend to not make what I would call kind of like a full size square card, but this would be the pattern for making into a square card if you like to do that. So I don't have a sample of that one, but I sized it down to make a square card that will fit into one of our invitation size envelopes, because the finished size is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So this is a nice little size, and you know, it fits into the envelope just perfectly. So I do have a sample of that. So this card base I made out of basic white. And so that's another option. I didn't do any of these cards out of cardstock, but you could make the base out of cardstock. The only issue is that it's going to make this corner where this squash fold is very, very thick. So you'd have to take that into consideration if you're going to mail it, that it's going to make a very thick card if you make the 7 by 8 1/4 base out of cardstock. But it's doable. So this one's out of the white, and I just covered every spot with this gorgeous, perfectly penciled paper on the inside. And of course I just attached that so it kind of looks like it's in the center, and created a vellum flower to hang over. So this is another idea. Okay, so that's that pattern. So when you download the PDF, it will have all the sizes on there, and some of the recommendations for the pieces that you can put on there. Let's bring them all back. And there's Lynn's card. Thank you, Lynn, for this fabulous idea. Everybody thanks you for bringing that, sending me that and bringing that idea. All right, look at these great cards. Well, tell me which one's your favorite. Tell me what you're going to do first. Leave me a comment. Let's chat about these cards or other cards. I appreciate so much you spending time with me, and your enthusiasm for stamping, because that's what gets me excited to wake up and create in the morning too. So thank you for sharing that with me. And I look forward very much to seeing you for the next Papercrafting Playdate. That will be next week, January 27th. And until then, thank you.